Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. If you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a pre-fight show for UFC 211. Miocic versus Dos Santos for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world, the most important title in all of combat sports as far as I'm concerned. The heavyweights is the most talent-rich division, especially in the UFC. And yeah, it's just, you got a heavyweight champ that can grapple, wrestle, killer boxing skills, Golden Gloves experience champ, and you got a former UFC heavyweight champion, Junior Dos Santos, trying to regain the belt. And yeah, so this is a pre-fight show of the main card, and let's get started. Okay, so the main event is Stipe Miocic, the UFC heavyweight champ of the world, defending the belt against former champ Junior Dos Santos. And Junior Dos Santos loves to box. I think it worked for him in the first Cain fight because it kind of took Cain by surprise, and then he went for the exact same game plan in the second Cain fight, and it cost him dearly. Then he went for the same game plan in the third Cain fight, and it cost him yet again dearly. The Ben Rothwell fight, it worked because he just had better boxing than Rothwell, and his takedown defense was good enough against a guy like Rothwell. And then, you know, that's the last match that Dos Santos is having now, coming off of his the win over Ben Rothwell. I feel like Dos Santos should have just made it a ground game, really, with that fight against Rothwell. Avoid the heavy shots. And then he should have done the same against Mark Hunt back when he fought him. The same, I feel like when I watch Dos Santos, it's like the good about him gets him to win fights against certain guys, and then certain other guys that just won't work because they'll know, they'll see it. Back when Dos Santos first fought Stipe, it was Stipe not as talented as he is now, and I think that's why Stipe is going to win this fight, because Stipe watched that fight, he's going to learn from his mistakes, he's going to mix things up, he's going to work on his boxing, and he's going to throw Dos Santos off guard. And Stipe has underrated jiu-jitsu skills. So I think Stipe gets it done, and I'm picking second round knockout. Now, I'm a big fan of both these guys, and I wish them best of both of luck as a fan. However, I gotta say Stipe Miocic gets the job done, second round knockout. I think he mixes things up, and I think the first round's pretty competitive, but then Stipe finds groove in the second round and knocks him out. Then in the co-main event, we got Miocic trying to get her fifth UFC title defense in the women's strawweight division against Jessica Andrade. Now, Jessica Andrade, I think, is one of the most talented women strawweights in the division in the UFC. And Andrade can definitely make this go 3, 4, maybe 5 rounds. And I think that Jessica Andrade has one of those nights where she really gives it her all. And I think we will see the best Jessica in this fight. However, it still won't be good enough, at least for now. And Joanna is in her prime right now, and she gets it done. I think she puts on a striking clinic each and every round. I think Joanna, at the very least, wins 3 or 4 of the rounds. I could see like maybe the first round going for Jessica, and maybe like a 3rd or 4th round, but then the rest of it going for Joanna, and she defends her belt by unanimous decision. A hard-fought unanimous decision. It won't be easy, but I think she gets it done. So, yeah, Joanna Miocic by unanimous decision. It's my pick. Then, also on the main card, we have welterweight clash with Damian Maia versus Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal, long veteran in the sport, and same thing for Damian Maia. However, Damian Maia will look to use jiu-jitsu. He's not going to want to stand and bang with Jorge for too long. Jorge has great boxing. great experience in not only the UFC but in other organizations. Damian Maia, world-class jiu-jitsu, I think is going to seals the deal here and gets Damian Maia the victory. I think second round submission is justifiable in the sport because Jorge Masvidal has great ground game, but nowhere near the credentials of Damian Maia. And Damian Maia knows how to play this game of, I'll act like I'm going to play your game, and I'm pretty confident in my skills to play your game. And then next thing you know, he's on top of you, and he's in your guard, and you're fighting for your life. And so Damian Maia gets it done, predicting second round submission. Then in the featherweight division, we have Frankie Edgar and Yair Rodriguez. This one, oh man, you know what? I'm rooting for Rodriguez here. He's such a nice guy. Frankie Edgar, talented veteran, former lightweight champ of the world, and he's fought for the featherweight championship in the UFC a couple times now. He's fought Jose Aldo, and then he fought Jose Aldo in a rematch for the interim belt at UFC 200, I believe it was. And yeah, I just think that Frankie Edgar uses his wrestling, and Yair's takedown defense, I think, will hold up for the first round. And then when it gets that second and third round, it's going to be all Frankie Edgar just bum rushing those takedowns and getting them. And he's going to figure out the takedown defense of Rodriguez. Rodriguez, really good takedown defense, and if he can keep it standing, he will make it a long night for Frankie, as I think he's quicker and yeah, I believe taller and better reach than Frankie. So if that happens, I'll give the nod to Rodriguez, but for now I gotta go with 60% chance Frankie Edgar gets it done here by unanimous decision. I think if Frankie wins, it's by decision. If Rodriguez wins, it's by knockout. But Frankie can eat some big hard shots. Then to kick off the main card in the in the middleweight division, this was originally a prelim on FX. It's Krzysztof Jotko versus David Branch. I think anyone that's been following David Branch's career in the last several years, he's been fighting outside the UFC. You got to be crazy not to pick David Branch in this fight. I mean, Jotko is great. He's a talented guy. He's a rising star in the middleweight division. However, David Branch, I mean, this guy, in my opinion, never should have been cut from the UFC in his first run. Then he went on to fight in another organization, win a championship at middleweight and light heavyweight, and successfully defend both titles simultaneously. And then just his contract ran out and he went back to the UFC. So yeah, I mean, David Branch, I got this fight. I think this is a hard fight though for David Branch, because Jotko has pretty good submission defense in my opinion, and Branch has killer submission skills, but it's not going to come super easy for Branch, I think, to get the submission. He could prove me wrong though, easily. I mean, it's David Branch, you know. But yeah, I'm picking David Branch to win by unanimous decision. I think he makes it a ground battle and he wins. And whenever they stand up, I think Branch will be able to hold his own and score some good power shots there. And but nonetheless, he'll make it a ground game and he'll win by a unanimous decision on the ground game. So there you have it. That wraps up my pre-fight show for UFC 211. Stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight show of this amazing card. And until then, see ya.